So it's Andy here with FTTV Boxing with future Hall of Fame promoter, contrary to what Coogan said yesterday. Eddie Hearn, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. I mean, it's been a brilliant run. Bam against Estrada last week was unbelievable, and then obviously tomorrow's going to be absolutely wild on many levels. Sorry, Darren, are you all right over there?
I'm next in queue, that's all.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. And then next week in Philly for Boots as well. So it's a great run, and really looking forward to a great day of sport tomorrow.
Probably one of the busiest men in boxing. Do you ever go home and walk
probably.
in? All right, definitely one of the busiest men in boxing. Do you ever go home and the kids go, "Who are you?"
Yeah, often. No, actually, my eldest goes, "When are you going away again?" And I go, "Oh, like Wednesday." Oh, like, you know. So
do we have to wait that long?
Luckily, they're at an age now where they're actually not that bothered if I'm around. But yeah, you try and I've got a media slot tonight at Kiss FM.
Oh, okay.
And I'm doing an hour on the decks, and I'm taking actually my daughters with me because that's quite cool for them.
Oh, they're going to show you what to do. Is
exactly,
that what it is?
Basically, I've got to pick some songs, so I'll just be basically asking them.
So what a fantastic fight card. Johnny Fisher, Alen Babic. When we were with you at Matchroom HQ for the barbecue, when you first announced it, one of the questions that we got asked quite a lot was, is Alen lost to Savage Babic, or do you still think he's
the same
potential
fighter.
banana skin for
Oh, it is definitely a potential
Johnny.
banana skin, but you know, some of Alan's attributes may be his downfall tomorrow. Like, I don't think that you want to stand and trade with Johnny Fisher, especially against a guy that punches harder. I think he's faster, and I think he's got a better chin than Alen Babic as well. But at the same time, if Alen can take him into deep waters through 3 or 4 rounds, it starts to get very interesting. It's a perfect fight, perfect step up, perfect opponent, perfect name, perfect character, and you've seen that with the ticket sales and also the media interest in the show. So this show will do very well tomorrow night, and it's a big test for Alen.
Yeah, well, Johnny sold already 3,000 tickets by the time we come to the barbecue.
I know.
Was there any for anyone else?
I know. Well, listen, we'll have around 6,000 in there tomorrow. So this really is a next-gen card, and you know, we had the weigh-in here today at York Hall. This is the kind of fight that would be at the York Hall if it wasn't Johnny Fisher. Do you know what I mean? With all due respect to the fight itself, to sell that amount of tickets is like, I've done World Championship fights that have sold half the tickets that this show's done. So that's the beauty of Johnny Fisher. Selling tickets is great, but tomorrow we'll find out if he can really fight.
So you got a stacked undercard under here, and
really
there's a
good
couple
card,
of really good names. I mean, Giorgio's a friend of mine, fantastic fighter. He's going to be something special, I think.
He's actually got a good fight. You know, it's a guy who I believe fought Woodstock in a really good fight. Giorgio's looked fantastic. Like, when he turned pro, everyone knew how good he was technically, but no one expected him to carry the kind of power that he's carrying. Like, he's knocking people out clean in these fights, and he's very, very exciting, very reactive fight. You know, he's so sharp, and he's coming on great. Look out for Reece Bellotti against Levi Giles. Will be an absolute barn burner. John Hedges against Oakfield's another really good fight, and Maisie Rose has got a really tough fight tomorrow night. Like, you know, those 2-minute rounds in a competitive type fight are very, very hard fights, and really good night of boxing.
I think as well, I think you need to get a bit more credit as well for what you do, because Jimmy Sains, I was with him last week, 3rd round stoppage, thinking Eddie is the biggest set of bollocks in boxing, because it's only going to take this guy to get cut, and he's out of next week, and that could cause some problems. So, you know, how much are you looking forward to Jimmy Sains on this card? It was a risk.
Yeah, we made the decision that Jimmy hadn't boxed in London before. Obviously, he was boxing at this show in Brentwood with Top Tier, and I just thought, but we hadn't announced, we didn't know we were doing this show in London at that point. And you know, with all due respect, I would have taken him off that show because I would have preferred him to sell all the tickets on this show. But, you know, we gave our word to Johnny Clark, and, you know, he's doing fantastic things with Top Tier, and it was great for them, and it was great for Jimmy. Because sometimes, you know, you fight on cards at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, with a few hundred of your own fans. The experience is great, the fight week experience, travelling on the road for fights. But actually, you need to box closer to home as well. So last week was a great atmosphere in there. He was on main event. Now he comes back and he's going to have 2 fights quickly. It means he's going to make a lot of money over a couple of weeks. He's going to be active, and then he can have a nice holiday and then come back and fight September. You know, I mean, you know, after the model of the Top Tier show, we're speaking to a lot of promoters across the country, the bigger. So I don't like the word small hall, because, you know, I think these guys have got bigger visions than that. You know, and that sometimes they call themselves small promoters, but if you look at Top Tier and you look at GBM particularly, these shows are really good. They're good quality. They're in good venues with good crowds. The production levels are high as well, and I think they can be great feeder shows for our younger talent to keep them more active but to allow them to sell tickets in their area. Because you look at Laley, for example. Laley's boxed in Belfast twice, I think Sheffield, you know, and never in London. I didn't even know if he'd sell a ticket. He did 410. Do you know what I mean? So he's a massive ticket seller. I said to Johnny Clark the other day, you should think about putting Laley on your September 7th show. Yeah. You put him deep on the card, he'll sell you 250 tickets. We can keep him more active. It's like slotting in an extra fight on the schedule. And for these kids, that's really important. So, you know, and when GBM do a show maybe further up north, I've got loads of ticket sellers up there that we can slot another fight on their schedule. And I think it's going to be a good model.
So I know you've got to go, you're really, really busy, meetings and everything. Got to ask you, AJ Dubois.
Yeah.
Okay, so we both saw the press conference. Frank jumps up in the middle, you sort of jump up and stand back. Yeah. Was that you didn't want to catch an unfortunate one?
Yeah,
How serious was that?
I've learned from AJ, you don't tell AJ, sit down, mate, get back there. You let him go. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to see it. I didn't want to stop it. I wanted to see it. And I love AJ like that. Fucking puts the fear of Christ in me. Because I've seen him like that several times, and you don't fuck around with it.
No, he was deadly serious.
Oh yeah, mate, he was ready to go. So I'm like, you know, 1, great TV. 2, I fancy AJ will knock you out right here and now. So we'll just run it.
So I mean, I have to be out of it. Yeah. What's your prediction for that fight?
It's a dangerous fight. You know, look, it's a bad time to fight both guys. They're full of confidence. They're coming off great wins. I just think AJ's too good for him, but Daniel can punch, and you know he's a good fighter. But for me, AJ too accurate. You know, if Dubois starts getting hit by shots that he got hit by, like against Hrgovic, if Dubois comes out aggressive, could be over inside 3 rounds. I mean, maybe either way, but certainly I favour AJ to just take him straight out.
Especially after what he did to Ngannou.
Yeah, look,
I was talking with Dewey Cooper
Dubois is a
about
much better fighter than Ngannou, but it's just the accuracy at the moment and the way Ben's got him punching. And Dubois is tailor-made for Anthony Joshua.
So, jumping off of that, Conor Ben. What's going on with him? I mean,
there's a lot of silence at the moment, which is good news, because when there's silence, hopefully something big's coming. So, you know, you've seen all these other incidents around the world: Ryan Garcia, Julio Cesar Martinez, 9 months, 1 year. It's been 2 years now for Conor Ben, and he's actually being penalised for not giving up on his innocence, because he could have done a deal. He could have gone off and, like all these people, hands up, right, let's do a deal, a year, $1 million, whatever. But because he wasn't prepared to do that on any level, it's actually penalised him. So now we're speaking to the authorities to try and just say, look, we just want a date. When are you going to let him fight? If it's September, October, fine. If it's January or February, it's a joke, but fine. Like,
you've got something to work to.
Yeah, because it's not fair on the kid as well. You know, let him have something to focus on. Let him have that date. Let him have the certainty that his career can resume. And that's hopefully what's coming soon.
Fantastic. Well, Eddie, I know you've got to go. Thanks very much for your
Cheers,
time,
boys.
always. And look forward to tomorrow.
Take care.
Cheers, buddy.